Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for another one of those weekly trophy list updates. Today's date is Monday, September 9th, 2024. So this will have covered the week of September the 2nd through the 8th of 2024. We're entering the final parts of the year, actually, which is just kind of crazy. 2024 has gone by reasonably fast overall, at least for me. Anyways, this week there weren't a lot of games with trophies earned, but I am extremely happy with the progress that was made in the 3 different games that I completed. So let's go ahead and knock out the weakest game first. This is Paku Paku. This is another one of those one-button games. And I did it because I was waiting for the Black Ops 6 beta to install, which was taking quite a while after I finished Black Ops Cold War, so I just decided to knock out a quick, easy Platinum Trophy while we were waiting. This Platinum Trophy is very straightforward. Scoring 1,000 points in a single game is not that hard because you're going to get so many multipliers while playing. Basically, it's a single-line version of Pac-Man where all you can do is just reverse directions. It requires a little bit of RNG because sometimes the ghost will spawn in a very bad spot and not be affected by the power pellet, or I guess the excuse for a power pellet, if you could call it that. So it might take a couple of tries to get to 1,000 points, but it's very, very easy overall. Then you have to eat a total of 25 ghosts. This can be done over the course of multiple playthroughs. That's no problem. It just, takes a few minutes to get through. Same with eating 500 coins. It's just going to take a few playthroughs to get that many coins, but nothing too difficult. By far the hardest trophy in the game is surviving for 1 minute. So for this trophy, this one gave me a little bit of trouble. It took me a few tries to get because I kept getting some bad luck with the way the ghosts were spawning. Basically, the best way to do this is to start playing at some point and basically just keep hitting the X button to reverse direction while the same ghost stays on screen. And as long as you're fairly quick about hitting the button, you shouldn't have any major problems getting through this, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Like I said, just hit the X button as needed, and you should just be able to stay away from that one ghost. You don't have to eat anything, you don't have to get a certain number of points in that game. Just survive for 1 full minute, and you're good to go. Platinum Trophy took about 6 to 7 minutes, so nothing much to worry about with this. You could probably do it even faster if you were a little bit better or a little bit luckier. So with that game out of the way, let's get to the 2 big games of the week. First up, we have South Park Snow Day. Yeah, I was not a fan of this game, and I really do not recommend this one. I mean, I love Stick of Truth, and I really enjoyed Fractured But Whole, but this one, not so much. This game is pretty terrible. I guess you would call it a roguelike type of game, where basically you have like 3 different weapons to choose from, and you go through levels that are slightly randomized and kill enemies and beat a boss at the end of them. There's 5 total chapters plus a tutorial. So there's not a whole lot going on with this game. It's not particularly fun. It gets old within an hour. Yeah, it still has a little bit of good South Park humor and charm to it. The plot definitely does make sense, at least by South Park standards. But overall, it is a pretty weak game overall, and I would probably not recommend playing it. Unless you just want to get all the South Park Platinum trophies. There's probably a reason why it's only at 2.1%, because most people probably couldn't stand to play it for more than an hour. It might be more fun and a little bit easier if you play it in co-op, though, I will say that. But as for the trophies, this one is pretty annoying because first you have to get the Invisibility BS card, which you get randomly at the start of each chapter each time you play through a chapter. So it's completely random as to whether or not you'll get that power-up, and then you can only do this on the first 4 levels. You can't do it on the 5th level because the final boss is not a human. So you just have to turn invisible at the end of the level and then defeat the boss. I would recommend doing this on Chapter 3 when you fight Stan, because he mostly fights pretty close to the ground and sort of comes after you the whole battle. This was one of the first trophies I got. It's pretty easy. Just use an emote. I think any emote counts, but it might be a specific one while reviving one of your allies. None of this requires multiple controllers or multiple players. It's just an option there. If you don't have anyone else, you'll have AI teammates, and you can play through the game on the easiest difficulty. Thankfully, it would be quite a bit harder if you had to do it on hard. It would probably be very difficult to do without actual human partners if you had to play through on hard. It probably wouldn't be as bad on hard if you actually had human partners. The 10 Vampire Kids, this one is a little bit grindy because there's virtually no way you're going to get this naturally by beating the game. So a lot of people suggest using the twofold Combat Arena, which is a free update, or the Combat Arenas in general are a free update. But I couldn't get that to work because it's supposed to spawn Vampire Kids within a few waves, but I played through an entire one through like 8 or 9 waves, and not a single vampire card occurred, so no vampires spawned. So for me, the way I was able to farm out the last like 3 kills that I needed was to just replay the tutorial by talking to Butters and hitting the pause button. So I would recommend doing it that way. Then this trophy, this one isn't terribly hard, but it does require a little bit of luck as to which objectives you get, because during Chapter 3, you're going to get 2 out of 3 potential objectives. You're going to get one where you have to help, I believe it's Jimbo and Ned, then there's another one where you have to light 5, like, fires, and then there's a last one where you have to run away from a snowplow that belches fire. And if you get that objective, this becomes harder because I'm pretty sure that's the longest one. You can kind of speed run the other 2 a little more easily. So you have to get a little bit lucky with the objectives that you get and with your AI teammates and such. But once you get to Stan, you can beat him fairly quickly as long as you're playing on easy and as long as you have the 2-handed melee weapon, which is like a sign, but I think it's called an axe or something. Because like I said, there's only I think 3 melee weapons and 3 ranged weapons unless you buy one of the DLCs that adds in a couple more weapons, which is just really dumb. There's just not a lot of variety in weaponry and such. It's just in cards. And I mean, your basic power-ups that you get, there's only about 8 or 10 of those either, so it's not really a whole lot of options for playstyles. So then this one is during Chapter 4. At the end of the chapter, you'll be fighting Cartman, and you just have to beat him without destroying any of the stationary decoys, which are snowmen. It is totally okay if your allies destroy them. That is totally okay if your AI teammates do it. That will not void the trophy for you, thankfully. This is during the final battle, and it's actually very easy. You'll probably get this one naturally just because you're going to be killing probably at least 100 of them during that battle. Then you have to kill 3 enemies with cannonballs. You won't get this naturally because there's not a whole lot of options to do it. But what you're going to want to do is go into that 2-fold combat arena, and even if you can't get the vampire kids to spawn correctly, you can just use the cannon to kill 3 enemies because the cannonballs will respawn and it's in a very good position, so pretty easy trophy. This one, you just have to fart on 3 assassins over the course of the game using the fart escape ability, so just make sure you have fart escape equipped. The assassins are the ones that I believe wear masks, so just fart on them throughout the course of the game and you're good to go. This one, you have to wait until either Chapter 3 or 4, I believe it's Chapter 4 when the Necros start to spawn, and you'll go to one, you'll use the cheesing power to turn them against their allies, and just wait and do that until one of your teammates is down, or even if you are down, it will also count, and they should just go revive that person and unlock this trophy. This is another one of your major abilities. This one should come naturally because Healing Totem is one of the best abilities in the game. It basically just allows you to heal the people that are around you and sometimes damage the enemies that get near it, so just keep using it and you'll get this one no problem before you're done with the game. This one, you just have to hit the right button on the D-pad. It's one of the first trophies you'll get because it's just, fart on anything, so it's very simple. This one is pretty annoying, but thankfully I was able to get it actually on a stream, so what you want to do is wait until you get to one of the boss fights and go down during it, and then fart on them while you're in the down state, but before your entire team dies. If your entire team dies, you have to restart the level, which is really, really dumb. So it can be a little bit finicky as to whether or not you go down and your teammates choose to quickly revive you. You also have to have them stay alive long enough to revive you, or at least for you to be able to get this trophy out of the way. I did this against Stan. I tried it against Kyle in Chapter 1, but I couldn't get it to work there because of how much he jumps around. I'm not sure how it would go in Chapter 2, but I did it in Chapter 3. I could see it working in Chapter 4 as well. That would probably not be a bad place to do it. But either Chapter 3 or 4, I would say. Then this is a story trophy for Chapter 1. This is a Chapter 4 story trophy. This is a Chapter 3 story trophy, as is this one. This is a Chapter 2 story trophy? I think this is the Chapter 2 trophy when I'm looking at the dates of it. Yeah, it must have been, so this must have been Chapter 2. This is the Chapter 4 story trophy, and this is the Chapter 5 story trophy. Again, only 5 chapters plus a tutorial. This trophy is not too hard, but it ties into this trophy, which is probably the hardest skill-based trophy in the game. Basically, throughout each level, you can run into Nicole once you have beaten the game once, and she will give you an Infernal Pact, which is basically a modifier to make the game harder, but you're rewarded with more dark matter for upgrades upon completion. So you have to complete a level while accessing all of them, or activating all of them, and there's usually 3 per level. And both of these trophies will unlock from that. I completed one with only 2 of the rulebooks applied because I didn't realize there was a 3rd one that I walked past. This one you can do pretty easily on Chapter 1 with the Fart Escape ability, but you do need to do it on the earlier chapters or else it won't be powerful enough. The Ents are the towers, so just inflict bleeding damage on them with any of your abilities or weapons and have that kill them. This one should come naturally. Then upgrade the rarity of your cards. This is very easy, as is acquiring a legendary upgrade. These should both come naturally just by completing the game. You're going to upgrade cards consistently throughout the game, so it really shouldn't be much of a problem. Even though the cards you get are random on each playthrough of every level, and the upgrades you can get are also a bit random. The Ultra Legendary upgrade, this one took me a while to get, but what you basically want to do is go back to Chapter 1, and you're going to want to farm, or not even necessarily farm, but collect as much toilet paper as you can. That's the currency used to upgrade in this game. So collect as much of it as you can, and eventually, at one of the points when you come across Jimmy and he can give you new upgrades, wait until you have at least one that's rare level, or if you get really lucky, you might find one that's legendary, and once it's rare or legendary, just pay to upgrade it once or twice to get it to ultra legendary, and you'll get this trophy. It was actually one of the last ones I got just because I kept getting kind of unlucky with that, but it's best done by farming toilet paper in Chapter 1, because your toilet paper resets after every level, which is wonderful game design. This trophy is a broken mess, it barely works, and a lot of people have reported it as being buggy. Basically, what you have to do is, first you have to have the cheesing ability, then you have to get the cheesy zombies ability, which is a random upgrade you can get midway through any of the chapters, and then you have to use that on a necro, and even if you do it, because you can only do this once the necro is actually already downed, even if you use it, it might not give you the trophy. They might just immediately die again, so you basically just have to keep repeating it until it eventually chooses to unlock. It's completely random and luck-based, pretty much. This one's fairly easy. You have to use the gravity bomb as your ability and then just throw one of your projectiles into it. It's pretty straightforward. This one, you just have to jump into the air and then hold the square button to attack an enemy while in the air. It's pretty simple. This one, you want to use the Laser Eyes BS ability and do it on an earlier level of the game and just set 4 enemies on fire at once with one use of it. And then finally, you have to use the Moon Jump, which is another one of the BS abilities. Activate it and then kill an enemy with an aerial attack while floating for at least a second. But this is a little bit random because it might be a little bit tough to get this particular ability. And the ability kind of launches you further than some of the other ones when it comes to aerial attacks. So, I mean, overall, the Platinum Trophy isn't absurdly hard by any means. It's like I would say it's about a 4 out of 10 if you're playing everything solo, and like 7 to 10 hours total, with a good bit of that being RNG. It might be easier if you played an actual co-op, but I'm not entirely sure about that. And again, it's just not a good game. But now on to a much better game, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. The PS5 version is now 100% complete, which means I am now only missing 4 Call of Duty games that are currently released at the time of this video being uploaded. So the only ones I'm missing now are Black Ops Declassified, which I will do at some point, hopefully by the end of the year. I'm just a little bit Call of Duty'd out at the moment, so I don't know exactly when that one will get done, but it will get done. I'm not too worried about it because it has no multiplayer or zombies or anything to worry about. Then there is Black Ops 3 PS3, which is unobtainable, so that one will never go on my list. And then there's just 2 others, Advanced Warfare PS3 and Black Ops 4 on the PS4. The Advanced Warfare PS3 version, I'm not worried about the Platinum. It's just the DLC that I would be, like, really worried about and why I don't really want to do it again. Because I did all of it on the PS4 and it was not a fun experience. I mean, maybe if I knew I had a good group to play it with, I would consider it. And then Black Ops 4, again, is just probably not going to happen. People have asked, why aren't you going to do Black Ops 4? You say it's too time-consuming, but you have time to do Cold War twice. Well, here's the thing. You can 100% Cold War twice in about 80 hours if you know what you're doing and auto-pop trophies onto the PS5 version. You can 100% both versions in total in about 80 hours. Black Ops 4 takes something like 100 to 150 hours just to platinum, and then another probably 40 to 50 hours to get through all the DLC. So twice as long for a single platinum, even though it's super duper ultra rare. I just don't really have the time or the effort for it. It would require so much boosting in the blackout mode, and I think it actually is possible to boost if you have enough people. But anyway, with the PS5 version, I was able to auto-pop quite a few of the trophies, thankfully, so I finished this entire game in basically about a week, which is kind of crazy. So that's, yeah, because I think I started on Was that the first day I started? It was. So I finished the entire game in 6 days. Got the platinum in 6 days thanks to the auto popping. So first we have Dead Ops Arcade, the 5 chickens strung together. You can get this one in certain reward rooms. There's also a specific place you can do it in the Deep Dark Wild. Then the Deadly Dungeon, this is a place you can access at least during the very first Deep Dark Wild segment at the end of your 4th round. Just go to it and explore the entire thing, and it's pretty easy to do. Then Escape from the Deep Dark Wild is unmissable while trying to beat the mode, as is Finding Your Destiny in the Room of Fate. Both are unmissable, because you have to defeat the Mama Back to save your dear friend, which requires you to survive all 64 rounds and defeat the final boss. So this trophy is by far the most difficult trophy in the game in terms of skill required, but the good thing is it has been made significantly easier because of the advanced start feature, and it's also much easier if you play in solo first-person view, because if you do that, you can actually take multiple hits and you can regenerate your health, and it just feels a little bit easier to play overall. And every time that you die, you only go back to the most recent multiple of 4 level that you were on, and you always restart with, I think, 5 lives and like 6 or 7 power-ups. So it's not awful. Basically, you can sort of brute force your way through the higher rounds of this. You can run through a lot of the earlier ones pretty quickly, and like just a single playthrough, you can easily get to like 40 plus. But for the remaining ones, you might just have to brute force your way through a little bit. But this time around, I was way better set up for the final boss fight on the PS4 version. When I did that, I had something like 9 lives, but maybe 1 power-up total. Whereas this time I had something like 6 lives, but probably a dozen total power-ups, including a lot of nukes. So it really was not all that bad. Only died a couple times to the boss fight and used up all my power-ups, and it went pretty well. So it's not as hard as it once was. I greatly commend anyone who was able to do this legitimately back in the day without the solo advanced start or just advanced start in general. And I would never want to do that myself because that would have been horrible, although I'm sure it would have been a little bit easier in co-op at least. So then we get to the campaign trophies. Body shield 5 times. This one's very easy. You just have to remember to do it throughout the game because you can't do it on like every single enemy. Beat the campaign on Veteran. Veteran is not that hard in this game. The only difficult mission, for the most part, is Echoes of a Cold War, mostly because of the final portion, but I actually did way better on the PS5 version and only died on that mission about 3 times. So it went a whole lot better this time. I died on that final part for like 20 minutes straight on the PS4 version, so I must have just gotten kind of lucky with it. But definitely not one of the harder veterans in the game. Only, like I said, 1 or 2 really hard missions in the game, so nothing much to worry about. Then you have to complete all of the campaign missions. There are 12 true missions, plus a bunch of, like, cutscene type missions when you're in the safe house. For the most part, none of them are particularly hard. Once again, I would say that Echoes of Cold War is probably the hardest. The Final Countdown and Ashes to Ashes are 2 different missions you get depending on what answer you give to Adler during the next to last mission of the game, which is basically just a long cutscene mission, and you just have to do one of them. I don't know if you can get the Veteran Trophy by doing Ashes to Ashes first, or if you have to do Final Countdown first for it to pop. I'm not entirely sure. And then you also have 2 side missions you have to do, but apparently these 2 actually don't count toward the Veteran Trophy, surprisingly. And then we get to some miscellaneous level-specific trophies. So end of the line at the end of the mission, you're going to get to use an AC-130. You can easily get 25 kills in this. You can easily get over 30 with no problem. This one at the end of Echoes of a Cold War, it's the super difficult section. I actually did not get this on my veteran playthrough because I somehow lucked my way into getting through the level. But I later got it on a playthrough on Recruit. But unfortunately, the trophy actually doesn't unlock until you lift out of the area, which is really dumb because it's the very end of the level. This one's very easy. There's way more than 15 targets you can shoot during this area, so just shoot everything you come across. This is pretty self-explanatory. Just use the different weapons throughout the game. This one is pretty easy. Basically, you want to play through Break On Through 1 time following all of Adler's orders, then play through it a 2nd time and disobey every single one of Adler's orders, and you're good to go. This one's pretty self-explanatory, but it's campaign only, 200 kills with the assault rifles. There's quite a few of them in the game, so it's not really that problematic. This one is the last trophy I got on both versions of the game because it was easy to save for last. You have to pick up the bow midway through Echoes of a Cold War once you get separated from the rest of your team. You have to pick up the bow and then hold on to it and use it until you get to a zipline section later on in the level. Use it there. This one, during Break On Through, at the very end of it, you're going to be told to go through a door Like, the game's going to specifically tell you to go through a door in the temple. You want to avoid doing that and just run away from it, and eventually the trophy will unlock. Oh yeah, I've been downloading Resident Evil 4 PS4 version, and I have some space for it. That's good. This one's pretty straightforward. Just destroy the 3 or 4 mortar teams. There might be a couple more than that, actually, and then all of the vehicles during this defensive portion. Nothing much to worry about. This one was kind of annoying because the game got to be kind of buggy to where, for some reason, my grenade launcher would stop working at random times during certain runs of this. I don't know why it kept happening, but it did. It was really annoying. So this one took quite a few tries just because the game was being buggy, but it's not particularly hard. It's just a very short segment, so you have to be quick about everything. Then we get to Die Machine, the only actual normal zombies map you have to play. The crafting 14 different items, there's about 20 total, so you just need to farm the materials for this. I would recommend just shooting a lot of zombies in the head. That seems to drop more materials. Then the 2 split megatons, basically shoot them once with the Die Machine, or whatever it's actually called. I think it's actually called the Die Machine because it's the same name as the map for whatever reason. The Wonder Weapon. Use the Wonder Weapon, split the megaton, and then kill them both with a single shot in the earlier rounds. It's not problematic. This is for the Easter egg. I got through it first try on the PS5 version. I had a little more trouble with the PS4 version because the game crashed on me a couple of times at really bad times. So I didn't run into any crashing issues on the PS5, thankfully, so hopefully that was a PS4 exclusive issue. Getting the Pack-a-Punch machine is a normal part of your game. You can do this pretty early on. Upgrading your skills, there's 2 trophies for this. This one does take a while because you get the Ethereum crystals needed to do upgrades every 5 rounds you survive. So it does take a while to get enough to upgrade all or 6 different perks to tier 3. But the good thing is these 2 trophies actually auto-pop if you jump into zombies on the PS5 version after finishing the PS4 version. I believe the game may also backwards auto-pop, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on that one. Stay in the yard for 15 rounds. That was one of the first trophies I got on this version. It was pretty straightforward. Just use the Gallo S12. And it's really only hard on round 15 because you have to deal with a Megaton. Then this one's actually very easy because you're allowed to get some kills, drop off of the plane, run back up, get more kills, and rinse and repeat until it unlocks. And this is for obtaining the Wonder Weapon. You can either get through the box, which is extremely rare, or just solve a few basic puzzle steps to get the weapon through sort of natural progression. The map's pretty easy overall. The mode isn't too hard. It was actually pretty fun. I did enjoy zombies in this game, thankfully. I enjoyed the campaign as well. And then finally we have the multiplayer trophies. Thank God all of these technically semi-auto-pop. They all auto-pop after doing the action one more time. So for this one you just have to get one more kill if you already got the trophy in the other version. You only have to get one more win. You only have to get one more kill with a lethal score streak. And you only have to get one more kill in a vehicle. So I only played one actual match of this game's multiplayer, not counting Fireteam. And within that match, of course, I got a kill, but not only did my team win the match, I managed to get a kill with an RCXD, which auto-popped both of those 2 trophies, and it was nearly the last kill of the game, and that's how we won it. So I got all 4 trophies in just a single game without really any major issues. Finally, there's Squad Wipe. Of course, this trophy is pretty much only possible to do on Saturdays, and it's going to become near impossible once Black Ops 6 comes out because far fewer people will play this game at all, and this mode's already dead and requires 32 people to play it. You can really only do it on Saturday. Just try to get it done now on a Saturday, and you might need to find a boosting group, but those don't always work out that well with it being a 32-player trophy. So just get this one done very soon, because once Black Ops 6 comes out, you're probably not going to be able to. And then there's the Onslaught DLC. The DLC is not particularly hard to do normally, but thankfully all of the trophies, or 2 of the trophies, have a semi-auto pop, so you have to kill an elite on each map. It actually means kill an elite on 7 maps because a bunch more maps got added in. But if you've already done this trophy on the other version, it will auto pop after killing your first elite after clearing the 3rd round of any map, so nothing much to worry about with that. You have to kill an elite with a support. Only certain items count for this. The combat bow counts, and I believe the death machine and war machine count, but those might be the only ones that actually count for this. So just save one of those for an elite and deal the killing blow with that weapon, and you should be good to go. And then you have to acquire the 7 gold chalices, but you can actually do this on the same map over and over again. I would recommend Satellite, because it's nice and wide open, though there's a couple other big open maps that aren't too bad for this. But the good thing is this trophy will auto-pop upon getting your first gold chalice on the PS5 version if you already did it on the PS4. So, yeah, it was very good progress this week. Cleared out South Park Snow Day, thank God, and then finished another Call of Duty game. I only have 4 of them left, which is just kind of insane. Obviously, when Black Ops 6 comes out, it will get a PS4 version. Most likely, as far as I'm aware, it's supposed to. And then the PS5 version is, unfortunately, most likely going to be DLC for Modern Warfare 3 because of the whole stupid COD HQ thing that everyone apparently hates, according to Twitter nowadays. So no one actually likes it, but they keep doing it for some reason. I don't know why. So with that, level 880, 1%, 29,091 total trophies, 838 platinums, 5,596 gold, 7,806 silvers, 14,851 bronzes. So, plans for the upcoming week. Obviously, it's still just going to be a little bit in the air with everything I'm dealing with my grandmother and everything, so, but hopefully she will end up doing a little bit better for at least a little while. Regardless of that, though, in terms of plans for this week, the only game I currently have on the slate for this week is Astro's Playroom. I'm finally going to be playing that one. I am super excited for it, because apparently Astrobot is like the game of the year at this point, so I can't wait to play the earlier one, and I'll be getting Astrobot itself for my birthday at the beginning of October. Otherwise, we've obviously released the Fallout Vermont video. That was like 2 weeks ago now. Unfortunately, that one underperformed pretty badly. And then the handgun-only challenge run for Modern Warfare 3, that came out on Sunday. So now I can really keep working on the Modern Warfare 3 trophy video. It's probably about a third of the way done at this point, so progress is being made on it. I'll get it done, hopefully, within the next couple of weeks. And after that, it'll be the Dead Rising 2 video, and then the Star Wars Battlefront one, and then Fallout 4, and then Thrillville, all that kind of stuff. So I don't actually know yet what I'm going to do for Platinum number 850. It might be a Call of Duty game, because obviously still got to do Black Ops Declassified at some point, but I could see it being like Black Ops 6. Because I think I've mentioned this before, but Black Ops 6's trophy list, or achievement list at least, has been leaked. And it's not going to be particularly fun in certain areas. The campaign looks pretty standard, run-of-the-mill, and the zombie stuff, for the most part, doesn't look like anything insane, except I'm sure we'll have to complete Easter eggs on both maps. However, you apparently have to kill 66,666 total zombies, which is going to be a horrendous grind. And you apparently have to get a diamond camo in multiplayer, which is also going to be a horrendous grind, so we'll see if that ends up being official, though. But either way, that would make for a very good Platinum number 850. Maybe I go back and finish the Outer Worlds for 850. I don't know yet. We'll have to figure that out. Along the way, though, I might start on Resident Evil 4 on the PS4 this week. I might also be playing some Fallout 76, just because it got a new update, and I know it didn't get trophies with it, but, you know, I've got guides to edit for that game, so we will have to see about that. So, yeah, don't know exactly what the schedule is going to be this week, but the main game we're going to be working on is, of course, Astro's Playroom. Cannot wait for that. And otherwise, I guess we will just have to see what ends up happening. I'll keep working on editing some of those old videos. So, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell if you haven't done so already. Let me know down in the comments what you guys have been working on this past week, and I will see y'all later this week for some more content.